you're happy to be a member of the Ayurvedic
Oh,
Association?
I love it. I think I just love the information you guys provide. I love the workshops you guys provide like this. I love the fact that in Ayurveda it allows us to have our insurance, right? By going through Ayurvedic Association of Canada to be able to be insured is profound. And I do think it's really important as someone who has been an Ayurvedic practitioner for a long time, who teaches for schools that certifies Ayurvedic practitioners, that and I would also speak to the herbs and the different products as well, that it's really important for there to be a body that supports the evolution of Ayurveda in Canada as it gets stronger and bigger, and also supports the practitioners and the clients so that they know what they're getting, and so that there is a lot of support and strength there for us all.
I agree with that.
Yes, thank you for your testimony.
Yeah. Oh no, I love it. You know, yeah. I think I joined the first day.
Yes, yes.
Congratulations and thank you.
Yeah.
Continued support is definitely something a nonprofit organization needs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to start.
Okay.
So if you could just close your videos down, please, right now, that would be much appreciated, so that only Azrael is on here in a few minutes. My name is Erica Mueller, and I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner in a place called Kelowna, British Columbia. And I'm a director of the Ayurvedic Association of Canada. And I'm proud this evening to present Azrael Zemanek. Is that right? Good, I'm glad. Azrael is an Ayurvedic practitioner, a pranic energy healer, a medical Qigong therapist, a yoga teacher, and she lives on Vancouver Island. Is your business called Ayurvedic Bliss?
It's Ananda Ayurveda. So it is,
okay.
It is in Sanskrit, but yeah.
Right. Okay. And as she mentioned earlier, she's a teacher at New World Ayurveda. So I'm really proud that Azrael is going to give us a conversation, which I like to call this more than a presentation, a conversation around the chakras and information that I think is really important to all of us in understanding that we're not just a physical body, but that we're a subtle body. And so I'll turn it over to you, Azrael, and I'm looking forward to enjoying.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the invitation to do this, Erica. And I really want to honor Neelam too, and just you both for holding so much space for this beautiful group, for this powerful opportunity for us all to come together. I think you had said there were about 100 people signed up. And so for those of you that are with us presently and those of us that are meeting with us online by video, it's so wonderful to have you here with us. I see many familiar faces, and I just love seeing those of you that I know. And also it's beautiful to be with those of you that, that I don't know yet. I'm going to share just a little bit about me in the sense of how I work, and so you can get a real sense of it. And then I will start the presentation. I was asked to do a PowerPoint. And so I'm just going to laugh because those of you that know me know that I don't do PowerPoints. And so it was actually really fun being creative and being pushed a little bit out of my comfort zone and going into a space of, okay, like let's make something beautiful to look at while we open into these deeper energies and these deeper levels of awareness. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner. I do teach for New World Ayurveda, both in their practitioner program. I run the clinical intensives as well as teach the weekly classes. And I also run the pranic healing program for them. And so I work very much in the physical world. And yet my passion is very much bringing that foundational energy of the subtle energy into the physical. Sometimes, you know, it's more than just diet and lifestyle and routine, right? There's different patterns and different things that are held in our energy body and in some of the different layers of our experience of being that are wanting to be welcomed or addressed to come to not just a greater health and well-being, but a greater connection to what and who we are. And I find that the most important way, or the best way, at least for me, to really come into contact with this deeper knowing is through experience. So I am going to be sharing a lot of information today, but I'm also going to hopefully bring us into a place where we can have a little bit of an experience of some of the more subtle experience of being, maybe some of our chakras or some of the layers of our koshas, and also open up to some questions too a little bit later in the session. So the way I would like to begin before I bring up my fun PowerPoint is I would like to just all settle in together with a couple breaths and really come into a held space to open to the power of Ayurveda and the power of coming into the truth of our nature, the truth of life itself. And so I'm going to invite everybody to get comfortable in their seat and to allow themselves to find a place to feel held in their body. Taking a big, beautiful breath in. And then opening your mouth and inviting yourself to just sigh out. And let's do this a few times, breathing in, breathing in. And the next 2 or 3 times that you sigh out, I invite you to just fall into the physical body. To imagine that your bones and your muscles were a temple, a body temple that you could just rest in, release in. And then let that breath go. And give yourself permission to open into the parts of you that are solid and the parts of you that are physical. Noticing the spaces that are touching the earth. Feeling the parts of you that are touching the chair. And resting in this divine body. And then I would invite you to open to the parts of you that aren't so solid. Maybe the mind. Maybe the sensation of your heart beating. Or maybe some tingles, or even noticing spaces that are outside of your body. Honoring that which is unseen, unfelt in the physical world. And then bringing that awareness and attention to that divine spark of you, whatever and wherever that may be, in the space of your being here and now. Maybe feeling that light of your spirit, or that space in your heart or belly. And just setting any intention that you'd like to for the next hour or so. Imagining for a moment that the 100 or so of us were all sitting together in a beautiful hall of light, beautiful hall of the Vedas, opening to receive the knowledge and wisdom passed by so many Vadyas, teachers, and beings before us. And I bring my hands to my heart and I bow down to each of you. Namaste and welcome. So opening your eyes only when you feel ready. And taking a moment and just asking yourself the question, what does the energy body mean to you? And how do you relate and connect to it? And just noticing what comes up. And for those of you that are Ayurvedic practitioners, perhaps even asking the question, well, what is the importance of the energy body in Ayurveda? Why would we bring awareness here? What would the purpose of that be? And just again, notice what comes up. Okay. And so I hope everyone can see my screen. I've got this little thing I want to move out of the way. Hold on one second. Oh, it's not letting me, so I'll just move back. This is where the PowerPoint's going to be a little difficult. Okay. So what purpose does it serve to work with the chakras and the energy body in Ayurveda? That's one of the main things I sort of wanted to open to for you. And you can see I've got this beautiful picture of all the koshas, right? And the koshas are the different layers of the energy body. They're the different layers of the spaces where we open to the information, where we process the information, and we come into a greater sense both of understanding and awareness, and also greater health. And so when we look at the energy body, or when we look at our body in Ayurveda, we're not just looking at our physical body. Our physical body is related to the Annamaya kosha, which is the smallest kosha, or the smallest space and place of that kosha. And in that emotional or Annamaya kosha, it's like that physical, the densest layer. And so it's what many of us are most comfortable with, right, or more aware of, and especially some of the clients or people that might come to us. But when we look at all these other layers, we've got the Pranamaya kosha, which is the layer where the chakras live. It's the layers of our nadis, it's the layers of the meridians, and the layers of that space in our body. When we look at that, that's a whole other layer where all our energy flows, right? It's sort of like the conductor of the breath, of the life force through us. Then we've got our Manamaya kosha, which is our emotional and mental body. So mental and emotional body, where there's the thoughts, there's the processes, there's the energy and the emotion that flows through us. And then we have the Vijnanamaya or Jnanamaya kosha, which is more of our intuitive body, our causal body. In the picture, they call it the wisdom body here. Before we get to our Anandamaya kosha, which is our bliss body, our closest body to that sort of Atman or spirit. It's sort of the layer of purity, right? Or where we might come in with things to work on here, but we're doing it for a greater good. And so when we look at Ayurveda, we really want to open to the idea of practicing or bringing light or awareness to any of these layers, any of these spaces or places. Because if we think of them as lenses, or we think of them as different filters from our pure light, our pure Atman consciousness, all the way out to our physical body, if there's any debris, or if there's anything that's sort of stuck or sticky on any of these layers, it's going to affect the layers in front of them. So if we're holding a lot of emotional ama, or emotional congestion, we might feel it emotionally, and we might feel heavy or depressed or sad, but eventually over time, perhaps that's going to show up in our physical body somewhere. Maybe it'll start just by being a blockage in one of our meridians, or later on in our life, it might actually manifest in something in our health, or in a space where we're holding on to something that can't just be fixed with diet and lifestyle. And so when we're working with the chakras, or we're working with any of these layers on the energy body, we're bringing ability to bring healing and wisdom to all layers of our aura and all layers of these koshic fields. And so the chakras in particular are these transformers of energy And even though they can live, and they do live on the pranic body, they can carry with it the memories from all these other koshas or all these other lines. They can carry the memories from our genetics. They can carry the memories from our lifetimes, right? What are we here to move through, to heal, to transform? And so there's storehouses of these emotional and mental patterns. And then there are also transformers of energy where they, if we work with them in different ways, they can be gateways to doing deeper healing on the other koshas or other layers. So they can be very, very powerful. It's an opportunity as we go deeper into these spaces and these places to heal and transform on all the layers of the koshas and all the spaces of these koshas. Okay, and hold on. There, it's letting me switch. Just figuring this out. Oops, I went ahead. So we have, there's the other thing I wanted to introduce other than the koshas before I got to the chakras, is that we have these three main nadis, right? Now we have hundreds of nadis that move through our body. There's lots of energies that are moving through us in many different directions. And that's where a lot of the marmas, which are mini chakras, are located. But for the purpose of today, we're going to work with these three main nadis, which are the Ida, the Pingala, and then the Sushumna nadis. And these are the nadis that store the energy or move the energy of Kundalini, and they move from earth to heaven, from heaven to earth. And so I like to think of ourselves on the energetic plane and on the physical plane as a conductor for heaven and earth. We are an earth body, and yet we are walking around with the divinity of heaven, the divinity of consciousness moving through us. And so these nadis are moving like these beautiful snakes in the pictures and crisscrossing through each other at the different chakra points. So the Ida nadi, it's the left nostril. It's the energy of the yin. So it's the energy of the earth. It's the energy of the pure Shakti essence. So the pure creative life force of the universe. And it carries with it the wisdom of the moon. It's cooler, it's softer, it's more receptive. Then we have the Pingala nadi, which is the energy of the sun. It's the energy of Shiva. It's heaven consciousness. It's pure divine consciousness. It's the canvas, what we're here to move with. And it's more vibrant. It's more alive. It's more, well, Shakti is very alive, so I don't want to say it's more alive, but it's a different kind of alive. It's not as receptive. It's more awake in its energy. It's more the doing. It's more yang. Again, a Chinese medicine or traditional color for it would be the blue energy, and it's a right side of the nostril. And then we have our Sushumna, which is the central channel that runs directly all the way from our Sahasrara chakra through our root chakra, or from our root up to the Sahasrara. And it is the energy of that rose, that pure rose-like consciousness. And so when we look at the chakras, we just always remember that they're at the center core and center space of our being. They move front and back, even out to the sides a bit. And they're where these main intersections of this pure light of consciousness, or these pure channels of her earth and heaven, come together. And so each chakra not only is a storehouse or a resonation with a certain energy in our body, but it's also very, very much energy of these intersections. And so, so we always want to be aware, and most of us will carry a little bit more yin or a little bit more yang, or in different chakras, we might notice that. And so that's where different techniques like pranayama, especially working with the Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, can be very, very powerful to start to create a sense of peace and balance in our chakras. Okay. And so when we look at these, we've got the beautiful Muladhara chakra, the root chakra. And I'll actually invite you here before we move on to just take a moment, and you can close your eyes or not, but just to take a moment and to feel into the root of your being. To notice what it feels like down at the perineum, the base of your spine. Maybe the front and back of the pelvic and lower sit bones. You may open your eyes for a moment and just notice this beautiful symbol of the downward triangle in the color red. And just to feel it or imagine this as a possibility of the life force in this area of your body. You might even breathe the color red there. And maybe even repeat the mantra or the affirmation, I am safe, I am supported, and I am held. And just notice how that feels. And I'm going to continue talking, but you can stay with your eyes closed for as long as you like. And I'm just going to take a moment and just see if I can move this a little bit. I'll make it bigger again. Okay, hold on. Perfect. Perfect. So Muladhara chakra is our root. It's supported. It's the supported root is what its meaning is. And it's the energy and the base of being connected to life itself and feeling connected and safe in our bodies, in our family, in our tribe. When we're looking at it from the Ayurvedic perspective, it's that grounded space of that earth energy, and it's being at home in ourselves. It's an ego-based chakra. It really deals with security, with feeling safe, with feeling at home. And it's the energy of our foundation, right? So the main energy of this from the doshic perspective is it's vata, which is the total opposite of earth, but it's where the colon is. It's like the seat of vata, and especially the subdosha of apana vata, right? So it's about this energy of the downward flow and of bringing this heavenly light or space and consciousness into our body and feeling safe with it. The energy of the tanmatra or the sense of it is the smell, right? So its sense is to really smell, to be in that earth and to be in that space of the full physical nature of not just touching or sensing, but of like smelling something. Like imagine smelling a rose right now, like, and it just affects all your senses, right? From the most open to the most physical. And so this is like the foundation of our physical body. It's where the Kundalini lives in our spine. The Bij mantra is the Lam or the lung, and that can be repeated to bring clarity, to bring strength, to bring focus, to bring energy to this body. 108 times is usually what I would represent it as. And its main purpose in an enlightened state is knowing that just by being here in these bodies, we are enough, we are safe, and we are held. So Muladhara is all about our physical identity. So anxiety can manifest in many levels, but if someone's really ungrounded, if they're not at home in their body, we're going to see a lot of anxiety, right? We're going to see a lot of the tendency to go outside of the body. We see that a lot with spiritual people. I'll own it. I was one of them at some point, where it's easier to go out and be in the ethers, right? And yet when we're in our body, when we're at home, right, there's this sense of groundedness. There's this sense of connection. There's a greater sense of being in connection to spirit. It deals with our sense of being able to survive, being safe, being able to have a grounded ambition and knowing that not only can we take care of ourselves, but that we are taken care of. We think of it in relationship to the physical structure of our being, the teeth, the nails, the bones, all our lower digestion, the lower colon, the smaller intestines, our sexual activity, our ability to move and to eliminate. And root chakra is quite common, especially in our world, right? We see some root chakra imbalances, a lot of fatigue, a lot of tiredness, a lot of poor sleep, elimination problems, right? So constipation is common when there's a lot of vata. sometimes depression, sometimes there's overeating and immune disorders, right? Sometimes there's obesity because we need to ground. And at other times we're seeing the underweight, right, that can come. A lot of times when there's deficiency, people are ungrounded. We see that a lot, feeling disconnected from the body, feeling fearful and anxious, restless, having the poor boundaries or chronic disorganization, and not feeling at home in their body. Sometimes we'll see excess. That's where we'll see the hoarding, the sluggishness, the obesity, fear of change, right? Having to hold on. A lot of times in our Western culture, we're going to see more the deficient than the excess, but it's something to be aware of. So again, if you're working with a client, you're working with someone, they've got these patterns and you're like, oh, it's nothing I'm doing is working with them. What would it be like to bring them into their body, working to balance the chakra, to give them energy and vitality, to make them comfortable, to give them a stronger sense of trust and open to a place of safety and security? So when we work with the chakras, we can work with different things like gemstones, essential oils. You'll see some on the screen that really work for them. And then we also work with different healing strategies. So definitely working with diet, lifestyle, and routine is important. But when we're working on the pranamaya kosha and with the chakras, we can bring in a lot of different modalities. Things like healing light yoga or pranic healing, which is working with yoga and breath, where you're just very relaxed. You're bringing light and energy to different areas of the body. Meditation is really good for the first chakra. Meditation, you'll notice it's on everyone. Vata balancing. So we think of root chakra, earth, right? We want to bring that energy of the vata balancing in, doing the self-massage, doing the daily routine, getting the proper sleep, and then doing things that bring us into the body. Yoga, dance, walking, connecting, and then doing the touch, right? Being touched by others, working with touch, working with affirmations like I am safe, I am secure, I am held. So the first chakra, it's all about being rooted, and it really connects to the Annamaya Kosha and our physical body, being safe in our physical body. And feel free to type in the chat if you have questions. We won't be answering till later, but feel free to type in if you have any specific questions. So as we move on to the second chakra, look at the picture for a moment. See this beautiful moon shape, the color orange. Closing your eyes, bringing your awareness to your belly and your lower back. This chakra is normally, for many people, 2 inches below the navel. Sometimes it's higher. When you feel into where Svadhisthana chakra is for you, where do you notice it? Where do you sense it? What does the idea of divine flow and divine feeling feel like to you? Being connected to your emotions. Being open to others and yet clear with your boundaries. To be sensual and yet steady. To be emotional and yet balanced. This is all second chakra stuff. To be connecting and yet not holding on. And you can continue to sit with that beautiful space in your belly if you like and just listen. Or you can open your eyes and look at the screen. It's up to you. So Svadhisthana, to me, I'm not even going to really read the notes. So if I miss something, you can ask some questions or you can just look at the notes. But it's all about flow. It's the energy of water. It's the sense or the tanmatra energy of taste, jala. It's the energy, so water is jala. Kapha and vata is the dosha. And again, it works with that downward flow of vata and then the space of support in our body, avalangabaka kapha. It is emotional in its nature, and it's still in that ego place. You can see the beautiful silver moon, right? That moon energy that represents the energy of our emotions. Its Bij mantra is Vam, and it's all about the divine right to feel. So what is it about? It's about our creativity. It's about our desire and pleasure and our personal relationships. And it really is our emotional identity. You will hear yoga teachers talk all the time. Oh, you stuff those emotions in those hips, right? We stuff them in that second chakra. Lower back, right? Lots of lower back issues in our society. We stuff them in that second chakra. So, so a lot of our emotions, and we don't always do this consciously, right? We do the best we can at the time, especially when we're younger. We sort of put what we can away, and this is an area that's often a holding place. So when there's dysfunctions physically, we'll see lower back pain, we'll see sciatica, we'll see decreased sexual energy, right? That sluggishness or that tiredness, low digestion, hormonal imbalances. It's our space of our procreation or reproductive area. So we'll see different things with menstrual problems or the sexual organs, knee trouble, right? Lots of times knee and even ankle trouble. And then the loss of appetite for life. And then we can see second chakra come out in different ways. It can be people who have so much excess and they're just like the drama queens, right? They're like moving all over the place and so emotional. And they're like, oh, like if I'm not riding that wave of highs and lows, there's something wrong with me. Addiction to pleasure, addiction to food, poor boundaries, addiction to sex at times, depending on others, not being able to be by themselves. And then we've got the deficiency where I'm not letting anyone else in. I can't enjoy life. Too much structure, right? I can't feel that. I can't go there. Holding on to things. Again, we've got that holding on, that codependency, guilt, shame, money control, right? So all these deeper emotional energies will often see resonating in this space of the second chakra, holding on, right? Too tight. And when it's balanced, it's like that flow of water, that flow of that divine nature of life, feeling emotional, letting the emotions be felt and allowing them to flow, but not holding on and not being stuck in them. Having a sensuality and enjoying connection with your loved one and yet not being attached and not being addicted, being connected and also being able to say, I can nourish myself. I don't have to be with you all the time. And that natural flow of abundance to life. A lot of the gemstones are orange, and we've got essential oils. I'm not going to read them all. You can just look at them. But again, when we look at the healing, we look at things like the meditation. Meditation is key. Movement therapy, bringing energy into the space of the hips, yoga, dancing, tai chi, qigong, journaling, but free flow journaling, anything that's going to get flow. And then the pranic healing or Vedic counseling, where we're working on these different subtle levels, working with emotional release if they need it or bringing it in. And then working with the subtle energies of aromas, right? Bringing the aromas in and letting go of needing to control or needing to fix. Svadhisthana, sweetness, sweetness. So the next chakra, if you want to open your eyes and look at this beautiful yellow, feeling it in the solar plexus, upper abdomen below the rib cage, front and back. Manipura, closing your eyes. Feeling your fire. What is your flame? What is your fire? Yellow, the lustrous gem, the divine right to be. The place where we open to the gifts of our divine presence in being enough. This is the last stronghold of the ego chakras. This is the place where we can really hold on. This is the root of our self-esteem. It's the energy of fire. And it's the space of Ranjaka Pitta. So it's Pitta, and then Ranjaka Pitta would be the dosha or subdosha associated here. It's very ego-based. It's the energy of Mars. It's about like getting it done. I'm going to get it done. I got to do this. If only I do this, I'm okay, right? And it's the divine right to be. So knowing and being that we are enough. That's a difficult one for a lot of us. It runs the energy of our upper abdomen, the gallbladder, the liver. It affects our kidneys and adrenals and our intestines, stomach. And we can see it physically a lot with any stomach issues. We can see it with the adrenal imbalances, with overdoing. We can see it with things like acid reflux, right? Or with sometimes the eating disorders, with these areas of control. And when we see it in the energy of the psychological, which is where we'll see it a lot, right? I'm going to own my third chakra imbalances. I work on them all the time. Overdoing, over responsibility, needing to get it done right, being judgmental of the self or maybe others. And then when it's really out of balance, right, that inflamed pitta, anger, rage, hostility, I'm better than you, I can't hear, I can't listen. And yet, when it's deficient, sometimes we can see this looking like excess. So there'll be a lack of self-esteem when it's deficient. There can be a timidity, sometimes issues with the self-image, fear of rejection. But when you're working with people, you can be like, oh, they need support. And yet they're going to be pushing out here, right? And so we can see excess sometimes when there's a weakness there. And one of my favorite exercises to do with people when I'm working with them on this third chakra is to invite them to go to the temple inside their selves, inside their body, and to imagine a flame. And you'll notice right away, is it like a little match, or can they not even light it? Or is it a raging inferno, right? And that's a beautiful way you can work with them on the energy of the chakra and calming it down or bringing it forth, because we're all perfect exactly as we are, right? That's the truth of life. And so if we can remember that in being we are enough, we can let go of that idea, either that we're not enough or that overachieving. So balanced third chakra is like a balanced pitta, confident, intelligent, productive, good digestion, helpful, can focus, and yet isn't overbearing, doesn't work too hard. And so we've got meditation, number one, affirmations and helping others, giving some of their excess energy to being of service in society, doing less time in nature, swimming, dancing, doing float tanks, I find are really helpful for third chakra and that excess pitta. And then the Vedic counseling. Again, a lot of the Vedic counseling, you'll see that a lot. Another thing I didn't write on here, but that's very helpful for all of the chakras, is definitely acupuncture as well. And any kind of the Marma treatments. And so we're looking at the yellow gemstones, and then we're looking at essential oils that are calming and soothing and yet open up to the zest of life. Okay. So it's time to close your eyes again. Oh, first, let's take a moment and just let's look at these triangles. So in my pranic healing courses, I teach all about what the symbols mean and the yantras for the chakras. But today, all you need to do is look at that beautiful six-pointed star and see the two triangles, the divine Shakti moving up to meet the divine Shiva who's come down. It's a beautiful place in our heart. The meeting of earth and sky. And closing your eyes and maybe bringing your hands to your heart. And taking a few moments here. Anahata chakra, unstruck, place of purity and of connection. You might imagine the color green or maybe the color pink. Feeling the attention in the back and the front. And opening to this divine place and space of your being, of your heart, your divine right to love and to be loved. The truth of your nature. And this heart chakra, Anahata, is all about love. And not just loving another human being, but of loving and opening to the divine compassion and experience of both bliss and radiance, forgiveness, understanding, seeing another. It's the energy of air and it's the sense of touch, sparsha. And it's the space where we have the lower energy of the chakra functioning still on the ego level, and then the upper is on the energy of the divine, right? And so it's this space of pure connection, pure light. And it's the gateway of our integrated spirit and body of the divine feminine and masculine coming together. It's the planet of Venus. And it really is, in its enlightened space, this divine place and right to love and be loved. It is all about unconditional love and emotional empowerment. Sometimes we can hold issues of our soul here, space of patience and divine wisdom. It governs our heart, of course, but also our lungs, our diaphragm, the energy of the esophagus, and the shoulders, the arms, our hands. It's the energy, I didn't put it on there, but it's the subdoshas of Sadaka Pitta, Avalambaka Kapha, and it holds the space of air, the energy of air. So when there's physical dysfunctions in the heart and we're having challenges with figuring it out, we're looking at upper back and shoulder problems, things like asthma, heart conditions. Remember, sometimes people will come in with a condition that is brought in, right? It's brought in from maybe one of the other koshic levels. Perhaps it's something we're clearing from a past life or that we're bringing in through our DNA. And so that's where we can support that on the heart level. I'm not saying it will heal it completely. We want to work on the physical level too, but bringing awareness to this, right? Shallow breathing, lung disease, pneumonia, things like that. So psychological issues, not able to love or be loved, losing hope, lack of confidence, jealousy, envy, deep fear, anxiety can manifest when there's a blocked heart or challenge in the heart, despair. And so when it's balanced, it's like being one, right? Coming to a space just of a giving and compassionate nature, being nourishing, friendly, being able to connect, still having those clear boundaries. And when we look with healing, or what are some of the aspects we would bring in, again, working with Vedic counseling, working with meditation, the gratitude practice, working with the Bija mantra, community, friendship, pranayama. So pranayama is good for any of the chakras, but especially as we come up into the higher chakras, really working with breath, deep relaxation can be very powerful. Roses, right? Just smelling a rose, wearing rose essential oil, body work. And one of my favorites is the Hiridara heart murmur massage, just placing our hands on our heart and allowing ourselves to massage that beautiful heart center. Gentleness, right? Things that allow us to soften. And so as we move on to the fifth chakra, so much information I know. So let's just take a moment and let's just honor the space of blue, of this beautiful space of creative expression, closing our eyes, feeling the front and the back of our throat. Imagining this beautiful blue light. Knowing if you get a different color, it's fine. Trust what you get. Feeling this beautiful energy of Vishuddha, purification, where spirit comes in purity to be embodied by our expression of life on earth. This is one of the more creative chakras. So it holds the energy of space. And it's all about expression and creative, the divine right to express. We often think of second chakra as being that creative energy, but this is a very creative chakra. It's how are we going to express ourselves to the world? So just if you've opened your eyes, close them again and just take a moment. How do you feel here? On a scale of 1 to 10, how open or awake does this chakra feel? 10 being brilliant and 1 feeling tired. Just notice, don't judge. I'll give you a hint of where maybe some work might want to be done. It's the sense of hearing. It's the connection to our divine energy and our divine expression. It's the planet Mercury. It's the subdosha and the energy both of Vata and Udana Vata. And it's our divine right to express life. So it deals with our communication, our creativity, our ability to both listen and also to share, to be in truth and to truthfully speak our truth, our expression, and to take responsibility for our voice. It covers all this area in our throat, the thyroid, parathyroid, trachea, the cervical spine, right? Our jaw, our teeth, our shoulders even, and our hands. It's the gateway of the heart, right? The heart can't express ourselves. It can't move out to the hands. We'll see it a lot is physical dysfunctions with thyroid issues, right? Again, remembering there's a physical reason for this too. I'm not saying it's just chakra, but these are little places where we wake up. Mouth ulcers, gum and tooth problems. A lot of times we'll see that resonating through the koshas or the genetics there. Teeth grinding, the scoliosis, inability to listen. And we'll look at this with the energy when it's out of balance on the emotional level, psychological, can't make decisions, can't listen, over talks, too much creativity, and sometimes addiction, especially addiction where we're going to see people putting things in their mouth, right? Smoking or stuffing food in their mouth, drinking. Addiction was a big one for second chakra. I don't know if I mentioned that as well, trying to keep ourselves, dulled down. So some of the similar healing modalities, but we would add in journaling, mantras, so bhajans, right? Singing. They're good for the heart too, bringing expression out, drawing, toning, and then also receiving sound healing, working like with people who are doing mantras for you, yagyas. People who are playing the bowls for you or doing things that are going to affect things on the level of vibration. And being able to work in those layers, working with the blue gemstones and also essential oils that are both invigorating and then also opening to the expression of intuition, like the sandalwood, the frankincense, things that are going to open us to that divine expression. Closing the eyes, maybe after you take a moment and seeing this Ajna chakra. Sort of control center, their divine intelligence, bringing your awareness to the third eye. So not just the front of your forehead, but the back at spirit gates, that place at the back of your skull. And maybe for those of you who are familiar, you could go to the cave of Brahman, which is just behind that front area, and rest in this beautiful indigo colored space of divine intelligence. I think our meditation today is really just all about coming into each one of these for a moment, taking a moment to pause, to tune into this space. Do you just notice that you're at the front? Or do you go to the back too? What color is there? Are you open to receive the truth, not just of the intelligence of your brain, but of your intuition? This carries with it the energy of light. It's extrasensory perception, and it's spiritual. It's our connection to the divine. Mantras are Om, or Ang, and the planet energy is Jupiter. It is the divine right to see. It's our divine intelligence, seeing truth, both with the brain and with the energy of our intuition. It governs our brain, our ears, our nose, the pineal gland, our neurological symptoms, so our brain, all that energy of the nervous system, and our intuition. It's really about our intuitive reasoning, our intellect, our understanding, our self-knowledge, and our self-trust. And we can see it show up when people start to have awakening and openings, right? When people have experiences, we can see lots of physical dysfunction, like too much energy. We start vibrating, right? The nervous system's vibrating too high of a level. sometimes headaches or nightmares or too much work in our dream bodies. We can see it with depression or panic, as well as really shutting down. Deep physical dysfunction, again, not that it's just on these levels. We want to address all levels, but sometimes brain tumors can be something we're working through on this deeper level on the chakra. And it deals with our judgment, our evaluation, our energy and connection with reality, not feeling connected to our truth, and not being able to concentrate, and also not being able to trust our truth. And so when it's balanced, we trust, we have intuition, we can focus, we can think with our brain, and yet we can be connected to our imagination, and we can trust in our manifestation. Pranayama, meditation, yoga nidra, deep rest, shirodhara, again, would be a great one for this. Working to really ground and come into the space. These higher levels, the more subtle energy is very powerful. So again, the gemstones, working with the essential oils can also be very, very helpful. And we'll open into our last chakra for the evening. The 1,000-petaled lotus, Sahasrara. Let's bring our awareness to the top of our head. And imagine there, the center of our crown, this beautiful 1,000-petaled lotus. It might be purple, might be white or silver. It might be multicolored. And just invite it to be as open and as comfortable as it is for you, lit up as this gateway and this portal for the divine, for the energy of Shiva to move into our body, the energy of the light of awareness to exist in our temple. And notice how beautiful and awake and alive this part of you is. And after we go through this next little bit, I will do a very short guidance through each of the chakras. But just for now, revel in this space of your divine antenna and your divine radiance of spirit. It's the energy of space. It's the color of violet or white. Now, when I offer these colors, let yourself be with what colors come up. It's okay if it's different. It's the energy of unity, the planet of the sun. And it's the divine right to trust, know, and experience life as a gift. It's all about connection to spirit and spirituality. So our truth, it doesn't have to be religion. It's our truth. Ayurveda is the truth and the knowledge of life. It's connecting to our truth. It's connecting to the space of wholeness, of being in a space of open to that unity consciousness, and remembering that we are not sun, we are not moon, we are both. We are the temple for what earth and sky moves through. Governs our brain, our nervous system, our pineal gland. And when it's dysfunct in a physical, we'll see chronic exhaustion, sensitivity to light and sound, too much vibration in the nervous system. And oftentimes, if we see it psychologically or emotionally, we'll see a lack of purpose, a loss of identity, disbelief. Like, I don't believe in spirit. I don't believe in anything but this brain. And this brain and this physical is it. And, you know, so having that sense of really being held in boundaries. You know, sometimes there's lack of devotion. There's a fear. There can be holding on to things, really needing to be too attached to that material sense. And when it's balanced, it's trusting, right? So we all have probably had experience of oneness, and that's amazing. Most of us aren't sustaining it all the time, but it's trusting in that. It's knowing that that's there. It's coming into the light of life within ourselves. There's the intelligence and the open-mindedness to see the bigger picture. And there's the thoughtfulness to open to more information and to be able to learn. Again, working with these higher vibration energies. So I didn't put Shirodhara down. Shirodhara would be great. Sound healing, Reiki, energy work, mantra, mudra, pranayam. If you're curious about sacred geometry, looking at the yantras, right? Being with the different sacred geometry, Vedic counseling, working with these deeper issues and these deeper places that are working on the more subtle fields. And so we'll open it up for questions in a moment. Before we do, I'd like you all to close your eyes again and come back to your body temple. Feeling your feet on the earth. And bringing your awareness to the root, the red, the root, the Muladhara, the seat of our being. And maybe 3 breaths here, just breathing and imagining the color red. Knowing that you have the divine right to exist, that you are safe, that you are held, and you are supported. And then bringing your awareness up to the belly, belly button, lower belly, lower back. Maybe opening to the color orange, front and back. 3 breaths here. Imagination is very close to intuition. So don't worry if you're just pretending. I am divine flow. I am able to feel and flow and be with the grace of life itself. And moving up to the solar plexus area, middle of the abdomen, middle of the back, Manipura, the lustrous gem. Finding your flame or that yellow color and breathing 3 breaths. In being, I am enough. In being, I am divine. And then bringing the awareness up to the heart, the center of the chest, green, pink. Trust what comes to you, maybe a rose. 3 or 4 breaths. I'm the meeting of heaven and earth. I am divine love. I'm divine grace. And bringing the energy and the awareness to the throat now, Vishuddha, blue. 3 or 4 breaths, that blue color, or just that sense of expression. I am divine expression. I am divine creativity in body form. I am light. Bringing awareness up to the Ajna chakra, center of the head, back and front, indigo, or any color that comes. Maybe just surrounding this area like with a massage instead of blowing it out the front and back. I am divine intelligence. I am divine intuition. I am grace. And then opening up to the crown, the Sahasrara, the 1,000-petaled lotus. I am the vessel for life. I am an expression of the truth of life. I am willing to receive, and I am willing to be home in my body to the life and the light that is here to pour through me. And if it feels comfortable, bringing your awareness once more to that root. And as you breathe up, bringing the tip of the tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your teeth. Inhaling the breath up the back of the spine and down the front. We'll do this 3 times, just setting our orbit. allowing us to sort of come back into a more awake physical state. Up the back one more time. Down the front. And taking a few breaths here. Bringing your hands perhaps to your heart or to your thighs. And opening your eyes only when you feel ready. And so with that, I'm going to invite you just to take a few moments. We have till about 5:15 where we will close the meeting, and we can definitely close earlier if no one has any questions. But if you have any questions, I would invite you to put them in the chat box, and I'm happy to answer just anything about the chakras or anything about the subtle body or anything about your experience. I'm really happy to share. I work really well with question and answers, and I'm just typing my information if anyone has any questions that they want to get to me later in the chat box. And I'd love to hear from you if you have anything.
And if, excuse me, can I just interrupt for 1 sec, Azrael? If you would like to unmute yourself and ask a question, please also do that. You don't just have to type in the
Perfect.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, it's my delight. It's very interesting for me. Like I said, I'm not used to PowerPoints. I like to do the experiential a lot, and it was really fun to bring Nishi. I'll answer your question in a moment. It's really fun to bring it in, and it's a lot to put into an hour, right? Like there's so much information. So it really was a taste. It will be available by YouTube on YouTube, and definitely you can get in touch with me if you have any questions. Nishi, so you had asked, where do you recommend for someone who knows nothing about Ayurveda to start? So one of the things I would recommend is definitely to come to the AAC programs. They're going to be offering different things every couple weeks where they're going to have different people bringing different information about about Ayurveda. So there'll be a lot about the physical aspects, about the diet, about different things like that. So that's a great place to start. Another thing I would do is look, books are fine, but I would say look up like an Ayurvedic practitioner. It's always good if you can find a local person or someone. I work online, and there's many people that work online that you connect with, where you can start to work with them and really get a sense of what's right for you, right? Because there's so much information. With the chakra information, there's some great books out there. Anodea Judith has some great books, and there's different books that you can work with on that level and in that space there. So yes, it will be on YouTube, Robert, and I'll share it on my page as well. So good to have you with us, Robert. And Shifali, you had a question.
Yeah, hi, Israel. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this session this evening. My question is that if we align the chakras, would that help in all the kind of problems associated and related to the chakra, each chakra? Would it really help it balance better?
Yeah, so what I'm hearing, I'll just repeat it, and that way you can clarify it if I'm not correct. So in balancing all the chakras, would it affect the other chakras as we, like if we put them in the alignment and there was an imbalance in the fourth, would that then balance out the third chakra or second chakra as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So yes, you will find a lot of times that the chakras will work in tandem with each other. And so there'll be different, there'll be different patterns that we'll see, oh, the fourth is holding, and then there might be some congestion in the second. So there'll be ones that are more related to the others. But in general, if we open flow or soothe flow, whatever's needed in one chakra, it will bring more light and awareness to all of the other chakras. They usually will all carry their own patterns. So on some level, we are going to want to address them each individually. And so it's not like all of a sudden, oh, we brought one in an alignment, they're all aligned, but it will affect them in a positive way. The only way that would be different if there was a Kundalini experience or something like that, where things just open at once. But I don't recommend trying to do that. It's more again about, oh, let's see what's here and bring that soothing and that nourishing energy into it. So it will affect them, but normally it'll affect all the chakras, but normally we'll have to work with them separately as well. And yes, Nishi yoga is part of this practice. Yoga in the sense of both the asana practice, but also in yoga in all the 8 limbs of yoga and getting past just the physical. And then I did speak about the healing light yoga, which is a different kind of yoga that's more subtle that I teach and train people for. And so did that answer your question, Shefali? I hope so.
Yes, will help in Reiki.
Yes. Reiki can help too. And any kind of the energy can really support, especially if the person, so one of the things you want to be careful of, first of all, we don't want chakras to open too fast. Like we really don't. People are like, oh, Kundalini, it's so awesome. I've experienced lots of Kundalini. Not so awesome. Like it can be for a little bit, but it can shake a lot forth if the body is not balanced. So it's something where, again, you want to work with someone who is trained and you want to work with someone that can support you, both in Ayurveda with the chakras, with Reiki, because there can be a lot that can move and a lot that happens. And that's why I like to work with this, not just in Ayurveda, but I always tell my counseling clients, we have to balance the nervous system. If we just go in and start working on these chakras without giving that physical temple support, we're not going to be able to give the support the whole being needs. And so we really want to support everything as a whole. And that's why I shared the koshas at the beginning, not because they're also very important, but they're all connected. So if Annamaya kosha is out here, which a lot of us in that spiritual world at times can get before we learn our proper practices, it's sort of like, well, no, we want to be here. We're in the body temple for a reason. So let's balance that body temple and work with people that are able to really hold the space and that know how to work with energy.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Yeah, namaste. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment, and maybe you can comment on it. It's that, I work with many clients. Some of them have not found the self-awareness yet to be able to feel those kind of sensations or to be able to feel into their body. And I just like you to speak to just being comfortable with that's okay.
Yes. So I think that's great. And I think that there will be a lot of people that you'll meet like that. And that's where a lot of people are, right? And so first of all, that it's okay. And that even if you are like, oh, I feel like there's something going on in the energy body, you never have to mention the word chakra to them. And they don't have to even think about, oh, I'm missing out or anything like that. But sometimes it's like just letting them know, oh, you're feeling anxious or you're feeling like tight. What would it be like to bring your hands to your heart and just bring your hands to the heart? Or can we work with that rose oil, right? And bring that to the senses. And so we always want to meet our clients where they're at.
And I'm not talking about me. I'm also a therapist. What I'm talking about is the client's comfort.
Yes.
Themselves about, even in today's practice, of them maybe not being able to feel that and feel.
Oh, yeah. So just that's normal. So what I would do is always let them know it's totally normal. Just like I mentioned with the colors, you might get a totally different color. Like that's awesome. Like trust what you get. And in that sometimes nothing is fine, right? And so what I'll often do is invite imagination. And so even if they can't imagine, right? So it's like, okay, so you can't imagine. So what if you just think, I'm going to bring my awareness to this here. I'm going to bring my mind here, right? And, or maybe I'm just going to touch my body here. And you might not even really even be able to feel that, but that's okay. That it, because some people don't have the awareness, or some people can't visualize, right? Like they're never going to be able to visualize. So it's sort of like, what if I just bring my hands here and know that that's bringing awareness there? And so it's definitely to let them know that's okay. It's normal. And in time, if they're curious, that it may shift and it may grow, but we don't hold on to an attachment to the timeline, and it might not. And so we always say, what do you notice? Or what's it like when you put your hand there? And that's great. That's enough. So yeah, good question. Okay, and let me just read Claire's.
This will have to be the last question. It's 12 minutes after.
Perfect. So Claire says, I've heard the chakras are divided into lower and upper triangles, and they reflect each other to some degree. The idea being that the heart chakra is a balancing point and also a mirror of what is below and what above. I haven't heard that in my own, in that languaging, but if we look at it, they are there. You're going to see the triangles in many of the yantras, right? And they represent the Shiva Shakti energy, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and which are again that reflection of yin and yang and the balance. And then they meet together in the heart, which is a balancing point, right? And they are all connected and reflecting each other for sure on some degree. So that does make sense to me. I think I'd have to sit with it a little bit more or have more information to go further into it on it. And, again, just to know it was a very in-depth and yet very simple introduction still. There's so much layers and so much knowledge with the chakras, but I think I wouldn't get attached to that as that is the truth or the way of it, but that is perhaps a way to look at opening into it deeper as a sort of a tool or a key into it. Would be fine to work with it in that way, Claire. So.
Well, thank you, Azrael. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll have you back again for sure.
I would love it.
Yeah. And there will be information on the YouTube or on our YouTube channel. You'll be able to, this will get uploaded by next week if you'd like to rewatch it. And you have Azrael's information. And so I would just like to ask Neelam, who's another director of the Ayurvedic Association, if there's something she'd like to add before we close.
No, nothing. Just wanted to thank Azrael for bringing interesting perspective, especially with Reiki and how you connected with Ayurveda and energy practice, because I myself, I'm a Qigong practitioner, medical Qigong practitioner, advanced practitioner for many, many years. Yeah. And you brought like how you connect, because I always see the connection with TCM, but the way you brought Ayurveda into that was very interesting angle, and it was very interesting information, and the PowerPoint was beautiful. You are a pro. Now I can say that, it was beautiful presentation. And so I would like to thank everyone for attending the session and supporting Ayurvedic Association of Canada. And since now we have started our YouTube channel, please visit our website and and go to YouTube, and please share and view our channel and look at the information what we have. And we would like to bring more information every 2 weeks. And this is only possible because of the contribution of the members' membership fees. So we would invite everyone to become a member as an Ayurvedic practitioner, or as an alternative integrative practitioner, or as a corporate member, or even as a enthusiast member. And this helps us to share the wisdom of Ayurveda on so many levels. I think maybe Erica, you have some information that you would like to share about our next event, our next webinar, so that people can log in time and register for that.
Yes, I
Just
do.
a little information.
As Neelam said, we'll be doing one every 2 weeks. In a couple 2 weeks, I mean, you'll just keep up on our Facebook page too. If I tell you too much, maybe you won't have to go there as often. You can go back to our Facebook page and see it. Before I say that, I also want you to know, if you're looking for a practitioner, we have a professional page on our Ayurvedic Association of Canada website. And so if you're looking to find someone to start leading you in the direction of Ayurveda, that's a great place to look. We vet everyone, make sure they have the certification that they say they have, before we put them on the professional page. So having said that, we will have another webinar in 2 weeks. It'll be on Thursday night instead of Tuesday night. And it's going to be on Ayurveda and the approaches, the kind of the more psychological approaches of what's happened through the whole COVID and how Ayurveda can help you with that. It's done by my mentor, the director of the Kerala Academy. His name's Dr. J, and I love him to bits. And so please look on our website and join us for our next webinar. So thank you very much, everyone.
I want to say thank you too to both of you for sharing and having me, and for switching the day for me to be able to do this. So thank you. And thank you to everyone for listening and for, just accepting me and being so open. And I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful evening.
Good evening. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
So much love. Bye.
Bye.
And Neelam, I didn't know you were a Qigong practitioner. I'm doing my training